One of the big things you notice when you come back to the States is that everyone appears to be moving a little bit slower. The service industry has been crippled. There's no friendly faces, there's no good attitudes, everything moves really slow. There's no such thing as fast food anymore, just expensive, bad food. And this is leading to the reputation that Americans are just lazy. And I think that this is justified. I think that you can call Americans lazy at this point because their actions are lazy. But I think that this is the consequence of the hustle culture. When everyone's hustling, when everyone's moving, when everyone's trying to earn, and they realize that all that work that they've been doing is really for naught because of ever increasing cost of living, at some point you got to drop your pack. At some point you just got to throw your hands up and say, I can't do this anymore. And I think that that's what you get now. And I think that that's seeped into pretty much every aspect of the service industry. No one's happy to work anymore, and why would you be happy? I mean, even if you're doing a job that you genuinely love in America, you're really only working just to survive. As we've seen cost of living, we've seen the price of housing almost double in the past 5 years, but wages have barely moved at all. So what hope do people have? What reason do they have to work hard, to smile, to give good customer service? What reason do they have? There's an underlying tone of depression that seeped into most people's lives at this point, and there's no real avenue out. And the worst part about this is that it forces other people who are still hard workers, good workers, to kind of carry the weight of those who have dropped their pack, of those who've kind of given up. And I guess the real question is, why haven't those people given up yet? Because if you're making $12 an hour, if you're making $15 an hour, there's real no way that you can be surviving. Even if you have a partner who's bringing in that same amount of money, at the end of the year, at the end of the month, you're barely making it. And forget about having a family at that point. Just you two trying to make it, that can stretch you to your limits. I mean, but people can't just stop working. People have to work. You have to make a living. And I find this to be something kind of uniquely American, because in most places of the world, if you're working in the service industry, you're barely making enough to get by. But at the same time, the quality of service is still great. And I think this is because we've been promised so much. We've been promised an American dream. We've been promised that if we work for so long, we work hard enough, we'll work our way up the ladder. We can become manager, we can become regional manager, work our way into corporate, but that just doesn't exist anymore. And this is built into a kind of resentment that the entire working class has for the managerial class, for the bureaucratic class. And it's really led into kind of a deep social depression. Because like I said, this is something that I find to be kind of uniquely American. Because if you go to Southeast Asia, if you go to Central or South America, you're still going to get great service. People take pride in what they do because the quality of their work is a reflection on them. In America, this isn't the case. I think it's because pride equates to individual success. And if you're someone who lacks any kind of individual success, you don't have pride. You don't deserve pride. That's the way that we see it. Because this is a real show me culture, show me proof. Fake it till you make it. And the fact is, when you fake it long enough and you don't reach that goal, you have to fall back. And that fall from perceived grace can be absolutely devastating. So like I said, I'm not surprised that American workers have become lazy. I'm not surprised that quality has suffered. And it's not just in the service industry. In products themselves. If you're a home buyer, if you've seen the quality of the new build homes in America, you can buy a new home that's newly built and walk in and it's going to have major structural errors. And we just purchased our home, although it's an older home, is recently renovated, and it does look like a new build. And the new addition in the back actually has major flaw. I had to get up and seal the roof because we had a leak. That shouldn't be the case, but this is common. Go through YouTube, go through TikTok, go through Instagram, and there's plenty of stories of new builds that just don't make the cut. And to the rest of the world, while American homes are really big, they're not meant to last as they are because they're made of plastic and wood. Just say what you want about smaller homes in the rest of the world, usually they're going to stick around for generations. These houses generally aren't, and that's why typically if I buy a home, I go for something that's older. Because when I drive down the road and I see a new build and I see that's just made of plastic siding, plastic trim, I know that that was thrown up in a hurry to sell fast because the market right now, home prices are ever increasing. And that's not going away anytime soon. And that's a real shame because I know at one point the reputation of America is to build, honestly, products that last. We used to say avoid products that were made in China, but the fact is products that are made in China are often better now than what's made in America. Because I think what starts at customer service with people being lazy, eventually that's going to go to the people who are supervising. They're going to give up because the people under them have given up. And it's just a toxic cycle, dominoes falling until the entire industry is depressed and lazy. And nothing gets done fast. That's one of the things about America that used to be kind of great, is that things here are done quickly. But now we kind of have a third world bureaucracy. The administrative class moves so slow, it's so bloated, and it's so filled with people who can barely hang on. Go to a courthouse and look how the clerks work. They barely get paid any money at all, and they work all day. Data entry, data entry, data entry. And that leads to them kind of seriously resenting the people that are coming in, the people that they're supposed to technically serve. And that means that they treat them with a bit of harshness. And those are our local government people. So that in turn makes the people distrust the government more than they already do. And it's just a big cycle where everyone just resents each other. And why would you want to take pride in the work that you do in a system that you resent? And the hard truth is that as long as we're in this kind of economic cycle that we're in, where all the wealth is going to the top and the people at the bottom, their income is staying stagnant, there really can't be any change. There's no incentive for people to improve their work, to take pride in their work, because why would they? When you've put people in a kind of debt slavery, what incentive is there for the slave to take pride in their work? You do just enough to get paid and not get fired. That's the working attitude in America now. Do just enough. Do just enough. Don't stand out, because why would you stand out? Because in most industries, in most jobs, there's no real way to advance anymore. And if there's no way for you to advance, if there's no reason for you to really stand out, then why would you? Why would you want to help a company that gives you absolutely no benefits? And the benefits that they do give you really just shield you from the government, but they actually don't pay into your life so much. The old wisdom used to say that you get a career, you stick in it for 20, 25, 30 years, and then you have your pension, your 401k, and you just retire. But that's not how it is anymore. And I get a lot of people in the comments saying that that's what you need to do. You just need to stick to it. But good luck sticking to it, because as soon as you get to the point where you're asking for promotions, they're going to replace you. Your wages really aren't going to be able to ever match inflation. So this kind of old world wisdom doesn't really apply to people anymore. So people are trying to figure out how to improve their station. And that's not going to happen with them just working hard in the industry that they're in, especially if they're in the service industry. Because the fact is that working for a corporation, working for a company, working for someone else isn't going to do it anymore. So we need to go back to an age of entrepreneurship. We need to look at multiple streams of income as being a requirement, a necessity, not just a way to make more money. Because it's not just a way to make more money now. It is a necessity. If you want to be able to survive, if you want to be able to improve in your life at all at this point, you have to have money coming from different avenues. And at that point, when you have that kind of ownership, yes, you can take pride again. The best service that you're going to get is from small mom and pop companies, where the people run it themselves, where families run it themselves, because they have reason to have pride, because they have ownership. You have no ownership at a corporation. You have no ownership at a company. They will eventually throw you on your butt at some point, because they are incentivized to get rid of you and get some fresh legs in there at some point. And this is an American nightmare. The dream has been inverted. Instead of working for freedom, you actually work yourself to go into debt, to get deeper into the system, deeper into the matrix. You run a marathon of a rat race that is never ending. You are just meant to run to death. So the escape that you make, the freedom that you can get, you can no longer rely on the old world wisdom. You just can't. For some industries, maybe. For some people, that lucky few, you may still be able to rely on that. But for the vast majority of us, we have to find another way. We have to be builders again. We have to be creators again. Even if it's content creation, if it's carpentry, any kind of trades are fantastic. Start your own company. My brother started his own company. He's doing great. I'm proud of him, and he takes pride in his work. Although he works all the time, that man is proud to have his name on the side of a truck. And I respect that. And that kind of pride, I know he'd never have if he's stuck by working for someone. That's it. Now, he still has side jobs, of course, because it's a slow build. But in time, when you get that freedom, in time you build. I look at my channel as content creation, and in no way did I ever think that I'd be making any kind of money off of it. I'm not making much, let's be honest. But do I take pride in it? Yes. I take pride in seeing it grow. I take pride when I find out that some of my words have helped people. That makes me happy. I take pride in that. It makes me want to do better. It makes me want to speak better. It makes me want to actually structure things a little bit instead of just hopping in front of a camera. And it doesn't take much. That's the thing. If you've been in the service industry, if you've been working for someone else your entire life, you don't realize, you lose the idea that, yeah, I can do it on my own. But when you try to do it on your own and you get just a little bit of success, that ambition pays off a little bit. Oh, the pride, the absolute pride that you can take on that, and the motivation it gives you to take another step. And you take that other step and you get a little bit more. You take another step, you get a little bit more. Sometimes it doesn't work out and you're there for a little bit, but look how far you've already stepped ahead. You're moving forward, and that's what's important. And we have to do that on our own now. And that's the reality. We can't just wait. We can't just wait for corporations. We can't wait for the boss to give us a promotion. We can't just spend all day trying not to upset people, not being who we are, because we're afraid that we're going to get reported to HR. You know, we have to have ownership in what we do to actually have pride in this country, because that's the culture of our country. People from early America came here to take freedom, to get a better life. The sweat of their back, bootstraps, they did that. And you can do it. We have to look back and look at the motivation, look at the measure of those people who came before us, and just try to get a little bit of that ambition and a little bit of that faith in ourselves. And whether that's staying in America and building yourself, building a company, or whether that's moving to another country and building over there, it takes belief in yourself. So while yes, I think Americans have gotten lazy, but I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think that we're adjusting right now, and I do think that it's going to lead, and I do think that there's going to be a generation that's absolutely suffered from a harsh depression because of the economic decisions of the bureaucratic and administrative managerial class. But I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over for the American people, not at all. This country's built, sadly, off winners and losers, and that's what this is going to have to be again. But the thing we need to ask ourselves is how low those losers fall. Because when the pressure is put back on this country, which is going to happen again, people can only take so much pressure. And while now it's pretty reliable that once that pressure's on, people will turn against each other. You know, people will scapegoat each other and blame each other. Once we all suffer kind of enough, that goes away. Or it leads into something far worse, which no one in this country wants. But for now, I say stay hopeful. For now, I say build yourself. Take back some ambition. Take back some ambition and begin to believe again. Begin to create. Even if you're slow and sloppy and everything looks bad in the beginning, remember, you have to practice, you know. In boxing, you have to throw a punch 10,000 times before you master that technique. In martial arts, same thing. You build technique, it's muscle memory. And eventually, what was a hard step months ago or years ago is muscle memory down the road. So never stop improving. You may be lazy, you may feel depressed, but you can take control. You can take control, whether here in America or abroad. But have faith in yourself and embrace your ambition. Thanks for stopping by.